morning, everyone. Our top story this morning comes from right here in Bogor, where the local industry is waking up to a massive shift in global trade, thousands of miles away in Washington, D.C. The United States has officially activated its increased reciprocal tariffs. This policy marked the end of business as usual for Indonesian exports. The US has moved to a tit-for-tat system. If a country taxes American goods, the US will now mirror that tax on a country's imports. For Bogor, a city that serves as a vital hub for Indonesia's textile, footwear, and automotive exports, the stakes couldn't be higher. As the sun rises over the presidential palace and the industrial corridors of Sentul, the big question is, how will our local factories survive this new era of economic friction? I'm standing here in the Ideal Boarding School, Jonggol, where the atmosphere this morning is one of intense focus, where our students are busy mastering cloud computing and software engineering. The world outside these gates is recuperating. Just down the road, the logistics trucks are moving, but today they carry the weight of a new 90% tariff for products destined for US shores. Following intense negotiations earlier this month between President Prabowo and the US government, the initial of 32% tariff that trade was lowered to a 90% reciprocal rate for Indonesia. However, even at 90%, local exporters are feeling the heat. Business leaders in the surrounding Jonggol and Tariff districts tell us that while they secured exemptions for commodities like palm and oil and coffee, the manufactured goods produced in nearby plants are now significantly more expensive for US buyers. The atmosphere is one of the caution's anxiety as companies wait to see if orders will be slashed. Let's look at why it matters for the boat. We're an export-heavy region. When US import costs rise, the landed price of a pair of shoes made in Bogor goes up. If US retailers can't pass that cost to their customers, they look for cheaper suppliers elsewhere. There is a silver lining. However, as part of the new trade agreement, the US has signaled a massive interest in developing a semiconductors ecosystem here in Indonesia. Analysts suggest that Bogor's strategic location and infrastructure and schools like IDN could make this region a prime candidate for a high-tech investments. But for the average worker in a traditional factory, the immediate concern is microchips, its job security. If these 90% tariffs lead to a drop in demand, we could see a slowdown in production that hits the wallets of thousands of local families. In Jakarta, the government is working overtime. The coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs confirmed that legal scrubbing of the final agreement on reciprocal trade was completed in Washington just last week. President Prabowo and President Trump are expected to officially sign the final document by the end of this month. The deal is a compromise. Indonesia has agreed to open its doors to US energy, aircraft, and agricultural products at near zero tariffs. In exchange, we secured that 90% cap much lower than the 40% plus rates being slammed onto competitors like Vietnam or Myanmar. Its survival strategy, Indonesia is betting that by becoming a reliable partner for American energy and tech, we can protect our manufacturing core from the worst of the trade war. As Bogor begins its day, the road ahead for our industries is clear but challenging. The tit-for-tat trade war is no longer a distant headline. It's a reality being calculated on every factory floor from Sentul to right here in Jonggol. A goal these reciprocal tariffs is parity. But for Indonesia, it's a delicate balancing act between maintaining our export volume and managing new, cheaper American imports. We will stay on top of the final signing of the trade deal and bring you to the latest on how it affects your local grocery prices and job market. Reporting him from Ideal Boarding School, Jonggol, West Java, I'm Afifuddin Akbar. Have a productive morning.